Hi, everybody. It's Chi and Lily. Chi, C-H-I. Chinese for energy. And this little boy has some good energy.
Yeah.
He's my life companion, baby. It turns out that I have much better relationship with Chi than I do with the guys I married.
Oh. I mean, they say that men are dogs, but in this case, it's the dog that's the man.
Oh gosh, I have a neighbor upstairs named Drew, and the first thing he ever said to me when we met was, "Men are pigs." And we have been friends for several years now, and regularly we come out with that expression. You know, men are pigs. Oh. Oh, oink, oink. You know, well, Jason and the Argonauts.
This is accurate.
Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody.
Hello, Lily.
Welcome to my world. Won't you come on in? It's been a while. It's been a moment or two since we've come to you. Life has been busy for us. Has it been busy for you? Can you breathe? Yes, just breathe. Take a moment to look at the sky, to look at the clouds, to look at the sunrise and the sunset. Just take a breather. Take a moment, one day at a time, which sometimes we scale down to 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time, to get us through our day. And I'm so grateful that you're here, and I hope that you glean something from tonight's video, and know that you're loved, and sending angels your way. We have had a lot of people calling, texting, letting us know that they're dealing with some intense situations, from COVID to cancer and everything in between. Homelessness, home being sold out from underneath them by the landlord, having to do mad scramble to find a place. And yet, I think things are kind of falling into place for most folks. Little by little, bit by bit, you know, and it's really not time to panic yet. Remember, darlings, that humor is your best friend, while temper, both angry and fearful, your worst enemy. So, and this little guy just went to the vet. He got his annual checkup. And our last video was on body shaming. And wouldn't you know it, this little dude gained 1.5 pounds.
Oh, Dempsey!
He now weighs 11.5 pounds. And he's just my little baby. Oh my gosh. The vet would like to see him at 10 pounds. And he'll do what he does. And I guess so will I. Stacy and I have been visiting this evening and just talking about various things that have unfolded. And one of the things that we were talking about was when I lived at Incline Terrace, which happened to burn in a 5-alarm fire for the second time when I went to Oregon last month. Goodness, in 12 years, the second time, 5-alarm fire. Anyway, I had a lovely little 1-bedroom apartment there with a cute tiny little yard and a sliding glass door, and it was summertime. I woke up about 4 in the morning and there was a fella standing over me in a hoodie.
At Incline Terrace.
At Incline Terrace. And
when was this? What year was this? Do you remember?
I can't remember. I don't remember, but it was before the first fire at Incline Terrace.
Because if it coincided with the first fire, then this is a major detail.
No, it was before that. But anyway, he was standing over me, and I was just waking up, and he was saying, "Don't worry, I'm not going to kill you or rape you." And my mind was going, well, that's nice, you know. And as I was kind of gathering my wits about me, the first thing I did is I invited him to, come over and sit on the floor. And then I asked him if he'd like to have a cup of tea or perhaps breakfast. Unbeknownst to me, he actually had my purse under his hoodie. And he just kind of looked at me like, this is a real screwball here.
Should I be afraid?
And then this fella took off with my purse that I didn't know he had. And the next thing that happens, I get out of bed and I go over to where I had my landline. I call a girlfriend and I tell her what just transpired and ask her, do you think I should do anything? And she said, honey, it's time to call the police. And I'm going, oh, is it really that significant? And she's going, yes. So I hung up and called the police. And when they came, by then I had discovered that my purse was gone, and they found it on the driveway, and they brought it in with them. And they began to take things out of it to see that did I have everything that was originally in there. And so there was valerian root and homeopathic remedies and Bach flower remedies, and they were trying to hide their grins. But the next thing I know, one of them is saying, boy, this guy should have taken these things he'd been better off. But that was kind of that. And I didn't really respond much until several hours later, and all of a sudden I started to cry. Wah, wah. And I was at a science fiction convention, and I was personing a table where I was doing tarot cards and psychic sessions. And all of a sudden I just kind of go, and I break down and melt down and realize that, oh my goodness, that could have been a very distressing scenario. But anyway, I was diagnosed eons ago with PTSD. And I tend to respond differently, oh boy do I, than most folks. What happens for me is I became hospitable. Can I make you breakfast? Can I make you a cup of tea? It's like, good grief, what normal individual does that when they're being robbed? Oh well. And then a friend of mine, Frances, who had watched the video on fires I have known and not necessarily loved, brought up to me that there was a fire that I neglected to include in that episode. So I will share this one with you. I had gone to use the facilities in a girlfriend's house, and there was a candle on the back of the toilet.
And what year was this about?
Oh goodness, I don't know, sweetie. I don't know
It was
years.
it was in the epoch of when you were living at Incline Terrace.
When I was living at Incline Terrace, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So that would probably be in the late 90s,
Okay.
I would think.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I do, whatever. And the next thing I know, oh my gosh, I had long, pretty hair sprayed to the max, and it caught on fire from the candle. And I didn't really realize it. And then all of a sudden, I just kind of went swoosh. And it did a big number on my hair. It burned my hair in front, on the side, burned my ear, my forehead. It kind of boiled my eyeball a little. And then down my right side of my face. And I wound up, apparently it was second and third degree burns. And my response was, I managed to get to the sink and splash water all over myself. When I looked in the mirror, my face was bright red and my hair was frayed to the max. So it's like, oh dear, oh my, you know. And then I looked around, oh, I've made a mess of her bathroom. Oh no. So what I tried to do before going out to talk to my friend, I tried to clean up her bathroom. Major burns on my face, and I'm trying to clean the bathroom because I'm feeling badly that I made a mess.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Because on the scale of bad things, you having second, third degree burns and smoke coming out of your hair is not as significant as a messy bathroom.
Yeah. Well, I hadn't wanted to put my friend out, you know, in any way. So I did come out of the bathroom, and she saw me and went, ah! And I said, we might have to go to the hospital, dear. And so I called my beau, and he starts heading for the hospital, and we do too. And so we go to the U of U emergency room, and sure enough, the doc comes in and looks at me, and you're a mess, you know? You know, and we begin to get some of the hair off of my head that was just, put your hand up in your hair, and it just came off in big, frizzy, burned, stinky hunks. It's like, I need a new hairdo. Anyway, and my boyfriend was this lovely black man. When he comes in to the ER, he's going, where's my woman? So somehow we got through that night. And then I remember that we had to go up for a few times up to the burn unit at the hospital at the U of U, so that they could begin to scrub my face as it was healing. And they had a big scrub brush that they used to scrub my face. Ow. And I figured, for a long time, I figured, well, I did my own personal at-home dermabrasion. Do not do this at home. Anyway, so that transpired. And the funniest thing is I was taking voc rehab class and testings and everything, and I showed up, a day or so later to the teacher and said I was in a fire. And he's looking at me with my face all swollen, my eyes practically swollen shut, and I go, yes, you were. Do you think you can still continue this? And it's like, yes, of course. So I did. And within a week, it was amazing how much I had healed and how much swelling went down. So I have this really strong feeling that when we who are mystics just do our things like Reiki and medicine wheel and our prayers and our angels and walk our talk and live the life, I think that magic begins to happen, and that magic is actually practical. You know, practical magic. And so much of that is dealing with our words. Now, just because I'm saying that our words are very important and we need to be cautious what we speak, does not mean that I don't curse, because I do. I'm very grounded and down to earth. Yet our words are magic. And just think about it. Like in ancient days when people said things like abracadabra, open sesame, and so many bibbidi bobbidi boo. I bet you that I can scare you. You know, just so many when we think about it. And S.I. Hayakawa in California, who was an expert on semantics, you know, wrote about it and everything, and that's could perhaps be a fun thing for some of you to look up and play with. But semantics are words. You know how the Asian gentleman who had the water, and you put words on the water?
Oh, the like the rice experiment?
Yes.
And yeah.
You know, and you can put courage on a bottle of water, or you can put prosperity on a bottle of water, and how for some reason that changes the elements of the water, and it also helps you to bring those sorts of things to you. There are all sorts of ancient traditions, such as for prosperity, one uses ginger snaps. Ginger snap cookies are for prosperity. It's an old witch's spell and tradition.
Do you just eat the ginger snap cookies?
You just eat them. Just do your tea and crumpets and just eat them, and remember what you're asking for in prosperity.
So as you're chewing and digesting the ginger snap, you're thinking about what prosperity?
Yes, you want to call to you.
This is a spiritual practice I can take on.
Okay.
Practical magic. This is very practical.
It is. I read that in books, but I also learned it from my sweet little Heather, who passed away a few years ago. You know, and there are just, another one is if there is someone who has done you a naughty and you want to overcome that, one of the things you can do is take a raw egg and just run it all over your being, and then you can take it and dig a little hole in the ground and break it open and put the egg in there along with the shells and just bury it, okay? And that's to help disengage from that energy so that you no longer have to deal with that. Do you remember any spells or anything like that?
Boy, I mean, I've always seen Reiki as kind of in the same lines of that. You know, there's the words and the mantras, there's the symbols that you're drawing in the air.
Right.
It can't do any harm to anyone, so it's purely good magic.
Right.
I think kind of all the things that you teach are around how do we use our words.
Yes.
So the body shaming last week, like how do we use our words for or against ourselves, for or against others?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just thinking that, well, words are exceedingly powerful. Very, very powerful. I speak my word, and so it is. I speak my word, and so it is. And then, as far as my belief system, I have gleaned my path from many different belief systems. I don't just hold one dear to my heart. I've gleaned so much from so many things, and that includes like the Witch's Creed, which is to harm none, lest in thy self-defense it be, ever mind the rule of three. And then there's a Baha'i prayer about being a standard bearer. And those of us who are attempting to walk the talk and live the life are also doing our best to be standard bearers. And what does that mean? That means to be a good example. His Holiness Christ, an exemplar of walking the talk and living the life. Buddha, Siddhartha, and when he learned about suffering and that life is suffering, and it is, all of us. We all like to think that, oh, this person's lucky over here and this person over here isn't. No, that's not necessarily the truth. There's such a thing as fate. There's whatever comes down the line, and how do we deal with those things? Do we, suck our thumbs and go off into the corner and go, wah, wah, wah?
Yes.
Everybody
Oh,
hates
sorry.
me.
That wasn't a real question. Okay. Sorry. Rhetorical question.
Oh, no. Nothing like this
Yes.
ever happens.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah, nothing like this ever happens to anybody else.
Yeah, the gods hate me. Why me? Yeah.
This isn't a truth. It happens to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, how do we handle things?
Yeah.
What do we do? And so much of it is dealing with our thought process, our words, and I think I could talk till I'm blue in the face, and still many folks would not get it, that when we talk about responsibility and responsible for your own life, you are responsible, and the truth is we are. And so much of that comes from our words, our thinking. And people will frequently say really negative things about themselves, about others. Oh, I never win. And what does that do? The universe is actually quite neutral. And we put it out there about saying, I never win. I never get such and such. Now, that is only the surface level. It is so much deeper. And the deeper it is, the better off you are if you can get these things deeper and deeper into your subconscious, into the core of your being. How do you do that? Practice, repetition, over and over and over, even when you at first do not believe, and you think you are just spouting off, oh, I'm prosperous, I'm abundant,
Mm-hmm.
But Shad Helmstetter, I've mentioned this before, has a book from quite a while ago called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And it's a whole new concept, a whole new way of embracing yourself and thinking about yourself. Thinking about, well, I am attractive. I do look just fine. Fine. I am pretty. she's pretty over there. I think she's a doll. I think, oh, look at that sweet little critter. Look at that darling baby. You know, oh, look at that little baby. Looks just like an alien.
Perhaps it is an alien.
And then that baby grows up into the most handsome young man. You know, we have to really embrace what we are speaking, and we are responsible for that. No one else is. And just because someone that you are near and dear to, or someone who has authority over you, says things like, you'll never get that, or you can't sing. Just because you hear those things is not necessarily a truth. You know, so many singers, be they Aretha Franklin, you know, Whitney Houston, just a lot of amazing people. They sang really loud or something when they were in church and little kids, and get told that's too loud or that's not okay or whatever. I know that when I was in grade school, I got pulled out of a school-wide program, holiday Christmas program, telling me that I was the only one who could not sing. You know, and if anybody knows me, I'm singing all the time, and even on tune some of the time. You know. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, and now I'm found, was blind, and now I see. So I may not have a fantastic voice, but I have a voice, and I can sing. You know, it took me a long time to figure that one out, though, because of that was very shameful for me to have the teacher point that out to everybody in my class. You know, and how many of us have been the last one chosen for the softball team, or the volleyball team, or the soccer team, or whatever, and have been the last one, and we're just like, choose me, choose me. Oh. And it feels so awful to be the one that nobody wants on their team. And then to raise up and become the CEO of a company. And now you're the one choosing who's going to be on the team. Mm-hmm. And it counts ever so much more in those times. So one of the things we wanted to talk about more was magic. And it's like you create your own magic. You know, it's funny how we all make our own choices, our own decisions. You decide if this works for you or not. You decide if glitter and unicorns and angels, divas. I have a whole collection of dragon babies. You know, some are coming out of the egg, and just, you know, and one of them that's doing that, the name of it is Round to It. Getting around to it. And we bring our own magic. We choose, we decide, do I want my life to be magical and fun and joyous and playful? Or do I want my life to be severe, strict, not, very concentrated on making money or growing the company or what have you? And we all can decide, and yet we can also do both. So it is your decision. And I will do crazy things. Like Saturday, I bought one of those black velvet pictures, of a princess, and it's like, okay, I'm going to color this. Why? Because it's fun. And because as I concentrate on this, I'm a princess and I deserve, and then it's so funny because I think of things like, well, my last name, DeCair, means of the castle. I can be a princess if I want to. I have the most amazing apartment. And I am in downtown Salt Lake City. And I get to look at the sky and the clouds and the birds that fly by. I get to see nature. I get to see the mountains, the sunrise, the sunset. I am so incredibly blessed. And I have what I call surround sound windows. In my front room, I have windows on 3 sides. And it's just like, wow, how did that come about? How did that happen? And for the life of me, I'm not really sure. Yet these sorts of things have happened, have occurred in my life over and over and over. One time I was going to speak at someone's home, and I didn't know exactly where it was. And I said a quick prayer of, oh God, guide me, protect me, illumine the lamp of my heart, and make me a brilliant star. And the next thing that happened as I'm driving, this white car, like a big Cadillac or something, pulls out in front of me, and its license plate says, Lilli 1.
What?
And I thought, well, that's crazy. Thank you. Okay. And I decided, I am so flustered. I think I'm just going to follow this car because it was going in the general direction that I knew that I needed to go. And lo and behold, I followed it. And then it pulled into the driveway. And wouldn't you know it, about 2 doors down was the one that I wanted. So it was like amazing. And if you read some of the angel books, they're always telling you those are the ways our angels guide us, etc. Little things like that. And that we have to ask our angels for assistance. They can help us, yet only if we turn around and ask for the help, because that gives them permission to intervene. Whether you believe in angels or not, you can still put that energy out there. And then someday, who knows, you may actually really believe. If enough positive and good things happen in your world, then maybe that would be reason to have a belief system. I'm probably one of the most skeptical, science-oriented people that I know. And it's funny because so many people see me as psychic psycho, airy-fairy, and all of those sorts of things. And I'm not one who easily believes. There's a program that I watch periodically called Closer to Truth. And it's a gentleman who travels the world interviewing scientists, priests, all kinds of major educators, philosophers, as he is looking to prove, is God real? God being good, orderly direction. And therefore he gets all sorts of thought process, ideas, etc. But ultimately, when it comes to having faith, that's something that we have to do ourselves. It doesn't just come easily. Matter of fact, I think the more intellectualizing you do and the more intelligent you are, the harder faith is to come by. Because we do not believe in the unseen. We do not believe in things that we can't feel, touch, see. And I have a feeling that ultimately, those things that we cannot see and cannot feel, cannot even touch, and the next realm may actually be more real than this particular realm where we feel everything is, if you can see it, you can believe it. Because oftentimes you can see something and the truth is it isn't real. Whether it's listening to politicians or watching what's going on the rest of the planet. The other weekend, Germany and Belgium had major floods. Now, of course, we do not believe in climate change. And yet, it was so bad that about 1,000 people died in 5 minutes. The earth opened up and there were huge sinkholes that swallowed homes and parts of villages. And it all happened in very quick time. Also, I was listening to the news, NPR, and it was saying, I think it was last Tuesday, that Iceland, enough ice melted in one day to cover the whole of Rhode Island. My goodness, that's a ton of ice. Things are changing rapidly. And we're just hanging on for the big ride. And there will be more things that unfold. And, we keep being taught, whether it's by Mother Teresa and her order, or various ascended healers, teachers, psychics, that this is a time we need to come from love and compassion and kindness. And our critters is a place that we can learn how to do a lot of that intuitively. Just watch the little beings in your life. And they can be so wonderful. And watching nature. And I feel like my life has been magical, really magical. It's like, how in the world can a little girl from Europe, having been born in a war-torn scenario, poor, no money, refugee, then becomes an immigrant, run for state senate, run for state legislature, be nominated by the governor as one of the Women of the Year because of the work done with families and children. Did I have any of this set as a goal? Absolutely not. I had no idea what I would do in life. None. ever. Yet, I love the exercise of 101 wishes. And I do that periodically, perhaps not as often as some of my students who do it annually or for their birthdays. Yet, I look and I see that most of the things that I desire, when I look and I see that I actually have them, and that it doesn't really require big funds, a lot of money. And I know that Stacy and I have talked about this before, but money is not what drives me. And perhaps money is not what drives you. And I know that oftentimes in our society, we think that someone is successful if they have a lot of money. I think success is if you have a family that you love and they love you, if you have kids, if you have close ties to friends, and things, you can do really simple things. And yet, if you are sharing laughter and joy, if you are, and creativity and art and singing, that's magic. That's fun. That's joy. And those things are not to be bought. You can ask any number of millionaires, billionaires, are they happy? And it's like, what is happiness? And I'm thinking that that's what happiness is. It's not just great taste. Although that helps a lot too. Stacy brought ice cream over tonight, and that helped a lot. That's fun. You know, I love ice cream soup for dinner.
But there is something so essential you're saying about spirit.
Yes.
You can't buy or sell spirit. You can't. No amount of money.
Yeah.
You know, I've certainly had friends who have gone through dark nights of the soul where they have had the career, they've been making the six figures, they've been living in Europe. They want for nothing.
Yes.
And yet spiritually, they haven't felt connected to their spirit.
Yes.
Or they've been going through a severe depression, or they've just gone through a breakup or the loss of someone that they love. And in that moment, they would have traded all of that to feel connected to their spirit, to have those people back in their lives.
And I think depression is like dark night of the soul. I used to call it the deep hole of Calcutta blues. And I'm also wanting to let people know that you can move beyond depression. You can move beyond PTSD. And the reason I say that is because I have done it. I was diagnosed with whatever that's called. It's the long-term, lifelong depression. Have you seen me terribly depressed?
No. and I mean on the bingo card of health things and
that I could be.
Yeah, you could absolutely. You would have every justification in the world if you wanted to.
And yet I was diagnosed with that in my teens. Also, PTSD is one of the reasons that I got disability is PTSD. It doesn't matter that I've got polio and that I have arthritis and cancer and heart and diabetes and blah, blah, blah. You know, it was the PTSD. And why do I have PTSD? Basically, from the situation I was born in, then things like being held by terrorists in the former Yugoslavia, and a number of other things. They figure they, being the powers that be medically, figure that all these things that would at least give me PTSD.
Yeah.
And I have it, but in a very strange way, as I just explained earlier. Like, oh, would you like breakfast?
Your PTSD is, oh, things feel very normal now. Okay, there's a crisis. Someone has invaded my home, so it's clearly time for breakfast. I'm right at home in this kind of a situation.
Really?
Oh, my hair's on fire. Let me clean the bathroom.
So I really...
It's when things are too normal that it starts feeling weird and wacky.
I want people to have hope and to realize that no, just because one is in depression at times does not mean that you have to stay there all your days. Absolutely not. What it does, it requires work. And what kind of work? The kind of work where you're cleaning up your thought process and your speech. The kind of work where you're not demanding that everyone do things your way.
Oh, gosh. Okay, now you've gone too far.
The kind of work where you actually see humor. Not mean humor, but you see humor in various scenarios. And really intelligent people can think off the wall and see things in a crazy way, in a just bizarre way.
Do you know what? I can't remember the exact quote right now, but you're bringing to mind the quote has something to do with, first is that laughter throws open a kaleidoscope of new possibilities.
Absolutely.
And I've also heard the one of laughter is the alchemy that transforms leaden emotions into gold, into light. Yeah.
Yes. Well, back to humor is your best friend. You know, and one of the first things that happens with people who are dealing and fighting with depression is they lose their sense of humor. And when nothing is funny and you have no humor, then it's time to get concerned and time to see, okay, what's really at the bottom of all of this and deal with it. Is life intense and hard? Of course it is. Yeah, it's intense and hard for everybody, not just you. And yet so many of us, especially in our little Western world, think that it's just me. Nobody, this doesn't happen to anyone else. Oh, baloney, it happens to everybody. You know, get over it. Move on.
So speaking of magic, we're just sitting here talking about magic, and all of a sudden somebody knocks on Lily's door.
Yes.
Open the door. Nobody is there, but there is a bag containing
dinner. Oh my god.
Homemade.
I think this is noodles and chicken. You know. And then this is almonds. What does it say? Roasted almonds, lightly salted.
Oh, wow.
And then there's some sort of meat. That's probably for cheese. Trying to cover all our bases. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you. Thank you. This is probably my neighbor across the hall. But look there, we have meat with bones.
Oh, gee.
You're going to be a happy little fella. A happy little camper. Magic. Well, I was wondering how I was going to feed my little beastie. Isn't that lovely? Okay.
Do you know, and that's kind of a nice little button, I think, to end on, because that was what you were saying to me when I came over earlier, because I'm in the middle of a move. And was looking at Lily's apartment, and there's so much fabulous furniture, like just fabulous, gorgeous pieces that have all been arranged. There's so many fun little nooks and visiting areas and beautiful paintings. And Lily was reminding me that most of her stuff was burned in a fire. And when she first moved in here, she didn't have very much. And now you just look and it's this overflowing, enchanted apartment. And what you were saying to me was to just be very, easy does it, to just be very easy with it.
Right.
One day at a time,
Yes.
that you will figure out how to decorate and what furniture you need one bit at a time, and things will show up out of nowhere that you wouldn't have expected. And
Right. And you told me that I had to stand up
oh, yes.
and show my jacket.
Yes.
Can you see?
I can see it. Oh, gorgeous.
So you can see the butterfly.
Beautiful. It's marvelous. Oh.
Came from a secondhand store about 20 some years ago.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
Stacy was saying that so much of my clothing is like art. Isn't that something you were saying?
Yep. I was saying everything is kind of like an art piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, and for those of you who really have that urge to spend money, please go on Shen Clark Thomas's Etsy site. He has these Reikido Warrior books for sale. And I think this would, if anyone is studying Reiki with me, this little booklet, and it's only, I think, about $5. This little booklet is this sheer gem. It has so many of the magical rules, philosophies, etc. in this one little booklet. It's all condensed right here. It talks about Reiki. It has a martial art that Shen created called Reikido Warrior. And it's basically martial art and connected with Reiki. And it's how to, when someone's in a negative energy space, how to help over that and sending good, strong, sweet, loving, powerful energy to the being and taking the negative lack and limitation energy. So, and then he talks all about Reiki healing, Reiki protector, Reikido warrior, meditation, Chi cultivation. That's my little puppy. Chi, C-H-I, is Chinese for energy. So Chi, energy cultivation, Reiki healing, and the Reikido projection drills. This little book, okay? Shen Thomas on Etsy. So it says white moth, and then it says reikidowarrior.com. reikidowarrior.com. Reikido Warrior. So I highly suggest this little tiny booklet because it is just chock full of wisdom. So thank you very much. And please,
this ad was paid for by the
and please you think about doing your grats and pats, 6 of them a day. I am grateful for, and I pat myself on the back for. And if you're so inclined to do the 101 wish list, remember, wishes are not goals. Wishes means you can be fantastic. And Also, the page for stress management, where you just write an 8 by 11 piece of paper of just words that you like. Flowers, sunsets, stars, puppies. And by the time the entire page is full, your serotonin levels in the brain will have changed. That is something that you all can do for yourselves, and it doesn't require medication.
Oh! But medication is still optional.
Your choice, darlings. Have the most fantastic week. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other.
I love you, Lily.
Ah, love. Love is the only power. Love is the only way. Love, love, our love makes the circle glow. Please subscribe. Have fun.